Says recording.
Yeah.
Now it's going. Gotta wait till.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Begin with a roll call. Start with you, Peter.
Here.
Dana?
Here.
And for the record, Dana's calling in via Zoom. And the chair's here, so I'll note that we do have a quorum of people present for this meeting in person. I'll entertain a motion to approve minutes of both the January 11th and the January 28th meetings.
So moved, Mr. Chairman, but I have a change on the January 28th meeting.
Okay, we'll do that after. Do I hear a second?
Judy, did I get these?
Yes.
I
It's in a,
missed the thing.
it's in a separate email. It was in an earlier email that was with the documents, the other documents.
It was sent out about late afternoon, 4 o'clock or so, yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yes.
Yep. Had the agenda as well.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me just look at it quick.
Sure.
I'm creating a problem here. Oh, here it is, okay. Got it.
Okay, you want to take a minute to look at it?
Okay, let me open it. Okay, this is about the charitable trust and all that.
Yeah, there should be the minutes of 2 meetings we had in January.
Yeah, I get them both, okay, all right. So what do we need now? A second to the motion to approve?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, Peter, you had correction?
Yeah, on the January 28th minutes, in the last paragraph, which where it says from the city clerk's office, and then parentheses, I would take out such as a city council vote, end parentheses, and add with a copy of the minutes showing the council voted to request the funds.
You okay with that change, Dana?
Peter, tell me again what you want to do, please?
On the second line in the last paragraph, where the parentheses, such as a city council vote,
Yes,
I would take that out, and after the city clerk's office, I would add with a copy of the minutes showing the council voted to request the funds.
okay.
That's more closely to what my motion was.
Sorry.
I'm okay with that change. You okay, Dana?
I'm okay.
Okay. All right, subject to that correction, I'll call the motion. All in favor, or I should say, I have to do a roll call. Peter?
As amended, yes.
Yeah. Dana?
Yes,
And the chair votes yes. Okay. That reminds me, I was going to ask you, Judy, do we post these on the city's website or on our webpage? Okay,
Yes.
because I was in there a while ago and it didn't look like we had,
They went up.
okay, great,
They did go up.
okay.
What I'll do is I'll amend the 128, resend it to the city clerk's office, and they will put up the amended version.
Will you send us an amended copy?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to the TD Wealth Management Investment Reports. Did you get your mailing from TD, Dana?
From TD, no, I didn't. I got Judy's report.
Okay, well, you received yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we got ours probably
you-
about
I-
10 days ago.
Well, it's,
Yeah, but that's getting mailed to my house, and that's why it gets delayed till it gets to me here in Florida.
Okay. Maybe, Judy, you could, well, Dana's still in Florida,
send it
scan
ahead
and
of time.
email a copy of that to him, so
I
you'll,
can do that.
you'll have a chance to look at it.
Yep.
Why don't you take us through these summaries? Judy?
So, the first one is the month-to-month, the monthly summary, with the beginning and ending balances for each of the funds. The total portfolio, ending balance was $21,641,229.91, which was an overall 4.88% decrease from the previous month. Part of
Judy,
it,
excuse me, does that show, had the 600,000 been taken out?
600,000 is not in the investment funds. 600,000 was in a separate CD. These investment funds are with TD Wealth. We have separate monies in separate banks. So the
Okay.
CDs, it has not, the money withdrawn for the community campus were in separate accounts. They were not part of the TD Wealth, so it did not affect the TD Wealth accounts.
So this here report mirrors TD, but doesn't mirror our total portfolio.
That's correct. There are a couple of bank accounts that are separate. Now it's even less. I think there are 3. I'll bring that information next week for you, and I can include it in.
That gives us, because one of the things that Tom asked us to do, which I gave him a rough draft this morning, is we need to know what's been withdrawn each month as well.
Sure.
Because that affects whether things go up and down. It's not only the market.
Right. Well,
It's-
that's what I included here. If you see on that first line, I wrote includes 97,000 fiscal year 22 payment. That came out of the Parks Fund. That was what you approved for the budget last time. So on that very first line, on that month-to-month after Parks, you can see that I did write down that we did make a payment for 97,000. But I can give a more detailed report overall.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Well, and just a reminder, Peter, we also have CDs and things that are not under management with TD.
We ought to know, though,
Not that much anymore.
Yeah, no,
Honestly,
but
not that
yeah.
much anymore.
We can have that, so you can see that every month as
And it
well.
might be a good time to actually review whether you want to keep them where they're at or if you want to move. And I'm not sure why they have to be kept separate, quite honestly. It's something to look at because they would be earning more money
yeah,
with TD. if
although
they-
rates
Well,
may
not
start
last
to go up.
month, but overall, overall.
It
So,
was basically, we didn't want to pay fees on money market accounts, money that was getting ready to be dispersed.
correct,
Yeah, it was mostly a liquidity issue, but yeah.
yeah. But now, I mean, TD literally turns it around the next day for me to get
Okay.
the money out. So it's something we might want to review.
Good.
Yeah, we don't have a FDIC insurance on the TD investments, but why don't we, why don't you bring a summary of
I'll pull it all
those
together and bring it next month.
along with what the expiration of the CDs are, so we can
Yeah.
know what timing we need.
Yeah. There are no CDs. We cashed out the last CD. Everything's in a money market,
Oh, that's-
separate money
yeah,
markets
I'm
account.
sorry.
now. Yep,
That's what I meant.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to bring to our attention?
Nope, and if you want to, the second sheet is, month-to-month overall performance, and, what Dana likes to see is that, basically year-to-date average, how it's averaging, so a positive 2.65%, Dana, since the inception of TD taking over the funds, is roughly what the overall portfolio has been earning over that time span.
Right.
So last month was a little bit more of a rough month, but, you know, it does fluctuate month to month, so.
2 out of the last 3 months.
Kind of up and down, yeah.
Questions or observations about those?
Just curiously, on this sheet,
Yes,
it shows 4.88% down. Okay? And on this sheet, it shows
That's it.
5.1% down.
interesting. I'll have to double check the formula on that, Dana. I mean, Peter, good catch. I didn't even notice that. Good catch. Probably a formula issue.
Yeah.
I will check it.
Is this Excel?
Yes. Could be. Probably when I copied over the column, it didn't
Yeah.
copy over right. I will check that for you. I don't know if you want to take the time now, Tom, to talk about what you would like to send to TD as far as,
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I do. That's what Peter was saying he brought in, and I had sent around a little bar chart of some thoughts on it. But, so we got TD coming in next month, correct? All right, so we want to give some thought to what we want to ask from, by way of, separate from the monthly financials.
Yeah.
You know, now that we've been with them for, you know, coming up on a year, what, I'm interested in seeing what they're looking at over the next 6 months.
To
Any other thoughts or comments on the reports that Judy did? Dana?
No, I think they're great.
Okay. So let's talk about, Dana, you'll recall that when you had sent an email on another subject back in end of December, early January,
Right.
you had expressed your concern about the lack of certain information in the reports we receive monthly from TD. And I circulated a, you know, what I called a proposed dashboard that we would ask TD to create, especially for us. Do you have a chance to look at that?
No, I didn't get that.
Now, that was a while ago. That was probably back
early January.
early January. It was right around the time, it was probably just before the January 11th meeting.
The recess meeting.
Right.
Because you said we won't talk about it at that meeting. We'll talk about it at this.
well,
Yeah.
funny that you say that, because I got the email, but there was no attachment.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
have the email right here,
What's the date of that email?
January 22nd.
Okay, no, there was.
Is there another one?
What's that email say?
It says, this is not a subject that we'll cover
Okay,
in
that's,
next
yeah,
week's meeting.
that is the one. Okay. All right, well, did you get the
I
attachment?
think I did, but
And it just says, oh, wait a minute, it does say attachment, proposed TD dashboard, so maybe I just missed that it was attached. It's on January 22nd, Dana. And you were on the email.
yeah, I have it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that's just a starting point. And Peter has given me one this morning that I can't send to everybody, but so the one thing that has dawned on me after I sent that out was that this doesn't really address withdrawals and distributions that are made.
that's why on the one I gave you this morning, I had a line for withdrawals.
Right.
Yeah, they should be able to put that.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it in my report because I'm tracking the number piece of it, but I don't know why they couldn't put a note somewhere on the graph or something stating how much was withdrawn.
So the one extra value that you include on yours, Peter, is a number, an inception date?
Yeah,
That would be the date that TD took over the...
right.
Okay.
The contract.
Tom, on your format here,
Yep.
it might not be specific on the withdrawal, but your current month balance would reflect the withdrawal.
Yeah, but the thing is, Jane, you won't know if it was a withdrawal or a market condition.
Yeah, see, the last two columns are the increase and decrease.
Yeah,
So we're looking to see what our rate of return is, and a withdrawal would skew the number.
I don't know why they couldn't put an added column that says withdrawal, and any
Yeah.
withdrawals could go in that month.
Yeah.
well, I have to believe they have performance reports that accommodate that situation. Any wealth manager has that.
Yeah.
So you can measure their performance. We just haven't seen it yet. Maybe because we haven't come to a quarter end or a year end.
Well, yeah, I expect that we would see some of this next month, but
Yeah.
I understood that you were hoping to get something every month.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I understood that you were hoping to receive some type of performance summary or dashboard from them every month.
I would be okay. The answer is yes. I did, quarterly is fine. My point was getting what we're getting monthly doesn't have any value to me, because it's merely, it's just a reporting out each fund.
Well, and
No- No statistics about performance.
you're right too, Dana, because we need to go through the whole report, and rather than having a grand total of everything.
Yep, a snapshot.
Yeah, one thing I don't like is that I have to sit there with a calculator and add up each individual report just so I can get a
Yeah.
total of the funds.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't have anything indicating
They
that,
should at least be able to do this.
yeah.
Did he give, what I gave you, give it to Judy? Maybe she could send it around?
I will.
Yeah. Yeah, why don't we,
We'll send it to them ahead of time so that they can,
okay. I think you could even take mine, which
Yep.
was in
yep,
Word format, and if you added, well, we got Inception, so, what I was attempting to do in that bar chart at the bottom, Peter, was to have the inception date, and then the last year-end date, and then every date, every month thereafter. Does that work for you?
I want to know what it was in Inception.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm sure this is screwing up the camera, but, so I had his inception, and then I envisioned we would have the last annual meeting, annual number, and then every month of that year.
Yeah.
Do you want that in numbers as well?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So, Judy, just
inception.
bar chart at the bottom,
Yep,
if it
year end.
include the number, the actual value, instead of just a,
Yes.
all right, so if you can
I will send that off.
pass that along to them and tell them we'd like to resolve what this is gonna look like at the next meeting when they have their performance review, and if there are gonna be any issues, let us know in advance so we can come up with alternatives.
I have a format here, which is basically exactly what I think you gentlemen are talking about. And I'll take a picture of it and send it to everybody.
Okay, that'd be great.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, all right, well, it should be, I think this will be our first performance meeting with TD since they took over in
Right.
last fall, so this should be good. Okay. Ron's scholarship.
Okay, so what has happened since our last meeting, and when the vote came down to approve how much was going to be awarded in 2022 for the scholarships?
Mm-hmm.
Marty Ron contacted me, and as was approved by the Attorney General's office, they were allowed to give up to $10,000 a year. We had scheduled them for 6. She's requesting, she would like the trustees to bump it up to the 10. They would like to run the scholarship out, and so she would like to increase it from 6 to 10. So that's a request that she'd like to bring forth to the trustees. And I was also contacted yesterday or the day before regarding the Russ Wilson Award. We had awarded the $1,000. I did not realize it was $1,000 for a male student and $1,000 for a female student. So it's a total of $2,000, so that one also needs to be bumped up from $1,000 to $2,000 to follow the stipulation of the trust. So what I have for you is an amended total scholarship to be awarded amount going from $217,900 to $2,000. Oh my God. $22,900, which is an increase of the $5,000. I just would like you to review it, take a vote on it, and then I'll let the school department know that it's been approved by the trustees.
And have you reviewed the trust?
I have, and the copies of the trust are here in case
Okay.
you would like to look at them.
So one question relating to the Russ Wilson.
Yes.
Are there issues that we need Bob to look at of having
Well,
trusts that specifically say certain sums have to go to?
I said that because that's how it was presented to, well, it says an award shall be made annually to a female and male student. I don't know. It's a total of $2,000 to be awarded, so that's your call on that one. But under the Russ Wilson Award, if you look at item number 5, that's how it was written.
Yeah, my concern is that this may not have been caught, earlier this year, as we did with the one 2 months ago. Given that it calls for disbursement equally, I'm inclined to say we can go ahead and approve this. But we perhaps ought to ask Bob to weigh in on this for future distribution.
For future.
What you think, how do you feel about that, Peter and Dana?
I'm having a tough time hearing
Oh,
everything.
All right, is this better? If I'm
Yeah, a
close?
little bit.
Okay. So I was,
What do we need to run by, Bob?
well, okay, so I was focusing on the Russ Wilson Trust, and the
Yeah.
paragraph 5 says that an award shall be made annually to a female and male student athlete who embodies Russ's philosophies, et cetera. So my question is, whether we're running afoul of the city's policies on, designating specific sums for female versus male students, et cetera. This is the issue we ran into a couple months ago with a trust that was being created, and the person wanted to allocate it specifically to a female student or a non-binary
Yeah.
student. And what I'm saying is, because this says that equal sums is to go to a student, a female student, as that of a male student, I'm inclined to say we can approve this, but I just wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable with that. And then secondly, just, this may come up again in this next year along with other similar older trust agreements. I'm just suggesting we have Bob weigh in on that.
Well, on this particular case, on the Russ Wilson one, I have no problem approving it, given the fact it's equal gender allocation.
Exactly, that's my position. How do you feel about it, Peter?
Yeah, I have no problem.
Okay.
This particular award got in under the 25,000 because it's going to be completely depleted.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. So that's okay on the Wilson one. Let me just take a quick look at the,
And the Tony Ron Scholarship, if you look at the settlement from the Attorney General's office, it does state that you can be awarded out to 10,000.
So Judy, the additional request is for, what, $5,000? 1,000 for Ron and 1,000 for Wilson and the rest for Ron?
That is correct.
Okay.
I think it's in paragraph 4. Of the 10 scholarships.
okay. Well, with the charitable trust division's approval, I'm inclined to vote that increase as well.
So moved.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second?
All right. So just to clarify, is this motion just relating to the Ron or to the Ron and Wilson request? Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the roll call. Dana?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. Can you give us an update on where we are with the Tommy McCann scholarship?
I can't, I never heard back from Kathleen.
Okay.
So I don't know what the status is. I will continue to follow up with that
All right.
and tell her that we have to have a report back of some kind for the next meeting. She probably got tied up.
All right. So, yeah, so let's put this on the agenda for the March meeting.
Yeah.
You'll recall that, you know, we've got a fairly substantial
Yeah.
inheritance coming to us, and the last thing we heard was back in the fall, and they were still trying to put together the,
This is the one the attorney called, you called me, and
yes,
Yeah.
this- yeah.
it makes this look a little silly. All right.
But, so I'm looking to nail that down, so. All right, so next item on the agenda is the scholarship press release. Did you each have a chance to review that?
Yes.
Okay, did you have a chance, Dana?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Right. So just by way of background, this was the follow-up to a discussion we had at the first meeting in January about when we had a representative of the high school scholarship committee or career guidance committee, I guess, to make some efforts to see that this information about the community scholarships is dispersed to non-Portsmouth High School students. So if we're okay with this draft, I'm going to authorize Stephanie Secord to issue it. She will post it on the city's website and on our page dealing with scholarship funds, and she'll also put it in the weekly or the daily newsletter.
It's exactly like what we reviewed the other day.
Yeah, we sent this around.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I just wanted to make sure that that Dana was okay with it.
Yeah.
Related to that is that if you went on to the city's website, you saw that she also created a simple page saying how to apply for scholarships. Did you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see that? All right.
I did, yes.
So these
Which is
are
great.
Okay, so these are just informational. I've asked her if she could also put together a simple PDF which would go on the city's website to tell people how they can go about establishing or contributing to scholarship funds. So we'll probably see a draft of that in March. Okay. Marine maintenance and Prescott Park contributions.
Tom, is that a copy of the press release right there?
Yep.
I just want to put it with.
Oh, I have an extra one, you saw it?
You can have it, that's good. You want the copy of the page from the website as well?
Yeah.
So in preparation for the fiscal year '23 budget, you have in front of you the 5-year rolling average, which is the policy that was set up years ago by the trustees on designating how much funds were going to be used for the operation of the park coming from the trust fund. The bottom portion, item C, is basically some optional amounts. I believe the policy was the most that would be used is 5% per the policy. The target has always been in past years around 4%. Last year, it was at 3.75%, and the trust gave to the city, or turned over to the city, $192,200. This year, based on the 5-year rolling average, which is approximately $5.5 million, I've recommended, I'm making a recommendation to the trustees of coming in at 3.65%. Last year it was 3.75%. And that will still enable to give a little bit more money to the city for the operations of the park, but keeps it at a reasonable average for the trust. But you can see what it would be at 3.75. It would be $209,000. The $203,000's at 3.65. 4% is at 223. And I even did a scenario way off to the right and of 3.5%, which would be 195,000. So,
Let me just ask you, when we approve this, we're approving the number, not the percentage, right?
that is correct.
Okay.
You're basically approving how much you feel is reasonable for the trust to turn over to the city, based on the earnings.
Can I just ask a couple of questions and make one point on this?
Yes.
Judy, can you help me understand the rolling average and how we work the rolling average?
Sure. So if you look at the middle box, your 5-year rolling average is the total average of the last 5 years. which is the 5.585.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's numbers as of December 31st?
That is correct.
Okay.
It's always based on the December year, the calendar year-end number. And then basically what you're doing is you're taking 4% of that 5-year average and coming to the 223, if you look at the very bottom part. The numbers up top that you're looking at are each of the, how it's designated and broken out. You know, we have checking, we have money market, we have the mutual funds, and that's all of the monies that are in the Prescott Park Trust at the very top. So what specifically are you looking at, Dana, that you?
Well, is the 5.585 the average of 2017 through 2021?
It's supposed to be, yes.
Okay. And then where you have the previous 5-year rolling average?
That was last year's rolling average of the 5 years, which would have been 2020 through 2016 through 2020.
Okay, perfect, I get it.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, thank you.
You are welcome.
I get it.
Yeah.
And just my comment on your presentation about the policy, you know, the trustees haven't been even up to 5%, trying to keep it to 4%.
Yep.
Those were, there's one change in that. In that used to be in the days when we would fund the entire operation or as much of the operation of a park before the city stepped in.
That's correct.
So I would just like to go on record saying those withdrawal rates are in excess of what I would think would be prudent but necessary because we were operating the park. Now we can revert to more appropriate withdrawal rates,
That is
like you have proposed.
That is correct.
Are you suggesting that 3.65 is still an excessive withdrawal rate, or?
No, not at all. I think it's conservative and appropriate.
Okay. How about you, Peter?
Yeah, my only concern is this may not be a good year, so when we get to a year from now, it could have an effect on it.
It could, but it is a 5-year rolling average, which helps softens that a bit, but you are correct. I mean, obviously, if we have a year and we lose $1 million, there's going to be an effect to that.
Yeah. I don't have any problem this year, but
Look at it next year.
yeah, I mean, we gave 192 last year and 203 this year. What I'm hoping that doesn't lead the city to believe that next year they can expect 213,000.
The city gets a copy of this, the city manager gets a copy of it. The city is aware.
Okay, this is at our discretion and nobody else.
Right.
Correct.
That's correct.
I mean, it's in our discretion, but it's somewhat of a negotiated thing. If we decided we were only going to give 50,000 this year, I'm sure that we'd have a meeting with the city manager and or the city council. But yeah, so our
reason.
yeah, so our I mean the reason they give us the 5-year averages has been approved, I believe, with the city with the charitable trust division many years ago, because this is different than how scholarship trusts are usually handled with disbursements. So
That's correct.
you know, we gave out $192,200 last year, or will be this year by June.
Correct.
And you know, we still increased the value by about $1 million. So that includes most of that 192 dispersed. So even if we had a really bad year in the market, a $200,000 contribution, it won't break the bank, and it'll all be caught up with next year anyway. So the recommendation would be $203,900.
Correct. And then from the Marine Maintenance Trust, for the last couple of years, we've given 21,000. I am asking, and the docks are asking for an additional $1,000. That 21,000 or 22 that we're proposing here does nothing but go and support the operations of the docks. There are no other funds that come in from the city. They are in a position where they would like to increase the wages for the dock hands that they have from like $13.25 to $14 an hour. I think it's a reasonable request, given the state of employment within the city, and so that's why we're asking for an additional $1,000. It's not going to hurt anything with the Marine Maintenance Trust. We're already receiving the seasonal dock payments in. These monies come from the seasonal dock
Yeah,
payments.
but unlike the Prescott
Yep,
contributions, I think our understanding with the city on the docks is that we basically give the city everything that's in there every year except for a holdback figure to cover the basic winter transition, like $5,000 or $10,000 or something.
we've been doing this since the city's taken over the dock. We've had monies coming in from the Marine Maintenance Trust.
Yeah, no. Well, that's what I'm, the maintenance trust is not on a 5-year rolling average,
Oh,
right?
no, that is correct. It's based
essentially-
on what we get
yeah.
every year for revenues.
That's
That
right.
is
And then
correct.
at the end, and so this is almost an advance against what we're gonna pay them, because at the end of the year, we take whatever else is left in there,
That is
hold back 5,000 and make a final distribution. So this is really just an advance against what we anticipate is the profit of running the docks.
That is correct. That is correct.
So I don't see a problem with
Okay.
having, in another,
What do we owe left on that?
no, a lot.
I want to say a little over 300, but again, I don't have the number in front of me. I can bring that figure in for you next month.
Yeah, I didn't
Been
bring
chipping
that.
away at it. We just gave $45,000 in December. You authorized that for the payback.
Can we just see where we stand?
Absolutely. Yep.
I should get that cleared up.
You know, it's just an internal loan anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just a.
One pocket to the other.
Exactly. Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve a disbursement in the next fiscal year of $203,900 from the Prescott Trust and $22,000 from the Marine Maintenance Trust.
So move, and we pay it semi-annually?
No, we pay the Prescott one quarterly, although
Quarterly, okay.
this year we didn't pay
The
it.
last 2 years, we've actually been waiting, and we do one payment in December and one payment like at the beginning of June, in your June meeting to true it up. So
Okay.
Okay.
not all at once.
And the city doesn't care that,
they're fine with it.
Okay.
And the reason why we do that is that we have found part of the Attorney General, when they weighed in on doing this, was that we had to be able to show the expenses for,
okay,
that there really were expenses for the amount that we were giving. So sometimes it's just easier to make sure and just do it in 2 payments.
all right. So would you accept a friendly amendment to your motion to approve the disbursement of $203,900 in semi-annual payments?
Sure.
Okay. Do I hear a second to that motion?
So I'll second the motion.
All right. Any further discussions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call. Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes.
Tom, when do you expect that the next request will be made for construction money?
You mean, I'm not, that question is a loaded question, so to speak. All I can tell you is that from the Prescott Park Implementation Committee's point of view, the city has already appropriated either through.
Morning.
Morning, Robert.
Nice track, Peter? I don't think I'd seen him.
For the year.
Gonna be ready for the drive to Cooperstown?
No, we're gonna take yours.
Yeah. You know you're on TV, Bob, just so you know.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
And so all the funds for Phase 1 have already been appropriated or are in the CIP, so. So the hope is that Phase 1 will be built out over the fall 22, spring 23 timeframe. And then
So it'll be ready for the season of '23.
that's correct. This will be done in the off-season of the Arts Festival, so it won't interfere with them. So the next time there'll be, requests for funding, it will be probably in the spring of '24 or something.
Do you still anticipate money for the stage?
Well, the stage, yeah, well, the master plan calls for a seasonal stage. Somebody will have to buy that how much that will cost and how it will be paid for is yet to be determined. Okay,
Yep.
wanna-
I just have some scholarship checks for
Okay.
signatures.
all right.
It's only a few, I think there's 5.
All right, any other new business while we're signing the checks
From me?
from anybody? There is no one in the audience, so I will not be able to have public comment, and unless somebody has any new business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move we adjourn.
Okay. Second. I'll call the roll. Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes.